record this so we can record to the YouTube page that we have, and we'd love more subscribers, by the way. So feel free to share our page and our video. And welcome, Miss Rebecca Mitchell. Miss Rebecca, how did we twist your arm again this month?
With chocolate.
I love it. That works too. So we committed to doing this monthly now, and we have gone over a couple aspects of our perceptions, and we're going to share our perceptions today on professional commitments. And one of the perceptions we've already been dealing with is how we're calling this Freedom Friday, whether it would be the molasses and bullet train. And we're open for suggestions. So anybody that wants to give a suggestion in the comments today or in the future, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be building this, what we call Freedom Friday video blog, however you want to call it. So we had a couple things we wanted to talk about. Our passion, and you can check out our Facebook events page. You can check out our webpage. It's being redesigned. We're going to be going through a whole new brand redesign over this next few months as well. Having all kinds of fun as we grow, and yet three of our values stay consistent: passion, integrity, and commitment. And so this month at One Light Ahead, we chose commitments as the theme. And so Rebecca was kind enough to help us with that and share her perception on professional commitments. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with next steps.
Excellent. Tell me more.
You're a visionary, and I'm so impressed with how you look down the future and kind of plan that out and set goals and that kind of thing. I'm more reflective, looking at the past and trying to see what I need to change or develop. And so for me, I need to think a little bit more into the future like you did. But if I think too far down or I see the big picture, I get a little overwhelmed. And I've been to a writing conference in which one of the keynotes talked about your job is faithfulness and God's job is outcomes. And that was so helpful for me that I can just, okay, what is my next step that I need to be committed to, that I need to be faithful to? I can't control the outcome, but I can control whether or not I do that step. So that's the best thing that helps me commit.
I love how, and you own that from one of our programs, the Masters League competition. As you said, what you really discovered was the ability that as long as I'm obedient to the commitment of the daily action, that the outcome will take care of itself. And so one of the quotes you had shared in one of our testimonials, and what a wonderful gift that you got clarity from the Writers Conference that our job is to allow God to handle the outcome. So what a gift. And I want you to share with our audience how you see yourself as a professional first, because this is always a fun conversation for us.
Yeah, some days I think, oh, one day I'll grow up and be an adult.
I think we all have those moments.
Yeah. I am a professional. I'm a lecturer at UC Davis and Sac State, and not a professor. It's complicated. I do not have a PhD, so I can't take on that label, but that makes me no less professional, right? So
absolutely.
The other professional path is as an author and writing the book and then promoting the book and speaking in places where I can that connect to that book's topic, and reaching out to people trying to find influencers that will read the book and recommend it to other people. So that's my other professional path.
And what are your commitments to that this year? Because, and I want to set the groundwork for you, because one of the gifts that you've done this year, to give you an inclination of example, is you've committed to being a divorce care leader and speaker. And that is because your book is for a resource for people that have gone through divorce and overcoming that. Share with everybody the title of your book, so everybody, in case they haven't heard it before.
It's called From Broken Vows to Healed Hearts.
Excellent.
Seeking God after divorce through, I always forget the order.
the healing.
Community, scripture, and journaling. A long time.
And yet it's powerful. It's been used in multiple Bible study groups now. It has been purchased across the country now. And that was a commitment that you made. That was a discovery process. I mean, just a commitment to write the book, do the discipline, get the book published, promote it, speak about it. That's all been a journey for you. And so this year, one of the commitments you made was that. And that's one of the things we do. And that's one of the gifts of our perceptions is our commitments are to help grow people just like you to own those commitments and keep moving forward in those action steps and the millimeters, as we talked about.
And, even if you're discouraged with the outcome, because it has sold, but not sold very much. And, my primary purpose is to help people. And so I have to, my secondary purpose would be nice to get sales, but that's not the primary one. And so I have to, if I get discouraged with the secondary one, I have to remember, people that are reading it are touched by it. I heard one person say, it was a lifesaver. So they're in a dark place and it's helpful. So that's the point. And if I forget that point and get caught up in numbers, then I get a little discouraged sometimes.
Well, and I love the way you said it. As a business professional, your job is to look at the numbers and see what there is to improve. And you're great at taking the time to reflect and saying, what can I do differently? You reach out, by the way, any divorce care leaders, anybody connected to a divorce care leader, you would love to talk to them about getting them a book and helping them understand how valuable of a resource you have, right?
Right.
And so that's important as a business professional. And yet as the reason you do this, the reason you're writing your next book is to be able to use the message and gifting you have, right?
Right.
And I love how you smiled about that, right?
and you reminded me, just like with the first book, just take the next step and see where God leads and where God opens doors. And
it's so interesting you say that, because even in one of my calls this morning, I reminded everyone, it doesn't always show up the way we want it to, or in the timing we want it to. And there's an opportunity to allow that nudging, whatever you believe. And, we all happen to have different perspectives on that. Yet our gift is to recognize that when we make the next decision and we make the next action, and it's connected to a commitment. And sometimes we even not making a decision or an action is a commitment. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we buy into the fear and the doubt and we commit to that being stronger than the actual action. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't achieve the result either.
Right.
And that doesn't achieve a desirable outcome, right?
Right. And so, go ahead.
No, please, go ahead.
I can't remember. It was something that you said in the very beginning, but how God directs us and He guides us on our paths. But I heard a great Torrin Wells quote, the singer that, the song at your wedding, but he said, yes, God directs our paths, but He also directs our pace. And so what you said about the timing is absolutely true, but also that we have different paces because of our personalities or motivation or energy or health, whatever it is. And so we don't need to expect to go at a pace of somebody else. We need to own our own pace. And even if, like he was talking about success and being on tour and all of those things that do meet his goals as a musician, as a professional musician, and it serves his family and provides for his family. But if it becomes all encompassing and his pace is too fast, then his family time is compromised. And that's also a primary goal for him. So the pace of achieving those goals is important too.
And it's so powerful. One of my mentors and friends is one of our speakers at our event this year in September, for those that are saving the date, September 24th to the 27th in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. All-inclusive event. Can't wait to share the details with you. Richard will be with us, and one of his big comments he's taught me for years is to understand my pace, because I have a tendency to challenge those around me with things. I'm sure you have no awareness of this.
No, that's the bullet train happening.
Right? Or as I said it to you the other day, I've said it to quite a few people lately, I'm the type of individual that loves to build the plane in flight.
Mhm.
And every once in a while, I forget to make sure I have a parachute on board.
Mhm.
So, and you are the type of person that would make sure there's a multitude of parachutes and a multitude of ones that are operating. So,
Yeah, that's good.
right.
I was reading in my journals and reflecting, since it's a new year, new decade, I reflected on my journal last year. And there was a part in there about you, or probably several, but about doors and how you're the kind of person that sees the door ajar and just like pushes it open and walks through, and what opportunity is for me here, and what can I give, and what can I receive, and you're all in, even though you haven't even seen the room yet. And I'm like, okay, I see the door ajar and I push it open a little bit with my fingers, and I stay on the threshold and I kind of look in. What's in here? Anybody know what's in this door? And especially anybody who knows me, is this the appropriate room? I'm going to go look at these other rooms too first and then choose. And so there's just this different process. And like we were talking about last night, both have strengths and both have weaknesses too.
And challenges, right?
Yes.
I have learned a multitude. I was on the phone with another friend of mine the other day, and she says, these are the things to keep aware of, and these are the things to pay attention to as you jump all in, to recognize this. Those of us that have walked the path before, pay attention to this, pay attention to this, and surrounding ourselves with people like that is a wonderful professional commitment as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you said. Is I make sure to ask people that know me and say, what do you know about what's in this walkway that is going to support or sabotage me, kind of like our habit finder, right?
Right.
We've got a thought pattern, and every one of us has a story that's attached to that thought pattern. So we filter all our decisions based off of those stories. And sometimes, as we do for each other, we get to reframe those perspectives and say, have you thought about it looking at it from this perspective? Have you thought about looking at it? And sometimes we're open, and sometimes we're like, yeah, no, I'm keeping mine. Right?
Well, and sometimes in that scenario, you're behind me, pushing me into the room.
Right? Kind of like today. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Like this moment here right now.
And what a gift. We have, as you know, we love to do so much fun together. I'm excited about our road trip in the future. We'll be taking a road trip in June. We're looking for pit stops along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the gifts to close this out today, and we're prepared for our next year, or next month. We're going to do one again next month. Are we excited? You're like, yeah, sure. As you're committing, as you've been contemplating your commitments, our passion, as I said, our three values are what we're filtering everything through this year. Our seminar in September is called Led by Love, Guide Your Passion, because so many people operate on what I have to do instead of what I get to, want to, and choose to. And so we're going to dive into some layers with people, with our speakers, with our guests, and help them discover those passions and how their integrity with themselves, because life is short. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. And at the end of the day, if we knew this was our last week, would we be passionate about what we're doing today? And I really want to help people get purposeful about that, discover there's a multitude of layers to that. As you know, I have a fun exercise for layers, and a couple of them actually, and you've gone through them. And every time you do them, they're different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in a different place in the river, as many would say, right? So as you're contemplating your values, how you filter in your decisions this year, tell me more about how that affects your professional commitments.
My focus this year, my word is presence. And so I want to be more fully present in all my relationships. And I want to not beat myself up so much. And just like you say, look at the opportunities, what I get to do, how I get to influence people, how they get to pour into me, and just to live more grateful and less punitive.
Powerful statement. And so often, I was reading a post today. They said they post it every year. They said, a woman is so strong. They're able to deliver and go through pain. They're able to do multitask, blah, 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 blah. Women have so many gifts. And at the end of it says the one challenge they have is to remember their worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, what a powerful statement, right?
Right.
Most men have no challenge with that, right? And we may be a little biased. And yeah, that's a real gift. And one of the opportunities is that all of us have been given a gifting, and you have this voice when you're on stage and when you're writing that is so easily relatable and so compassionate and genuine and comical. And there's just so many pieces to your layers that it's really exciting to help you blossom them for the community. So thank you for taking the time to do the video with us today. Is there anything you want to make sure we share as I honor the 20-minute commitment I told you I would?
Well, first of all, thank you for the compliment and for pouring into me to help me do those things.
Of course.
Secondly, actually, I have a question for you, because I've known you for years, and I've already said you're so awesome at looking into the future and being visionary. And my question is, how do you keep going? Because you don't falter. You get discouraged sometimes. Things don't go right. Sometimes that door you pushed open was a room that maybe didn't pour into you. But you are so positive and persistent. And so I want to know how you do that.
What a gift. Thank you. Some days better than others.
Yeah.
And you've seen that. What a blessing. It's so funny you asked that question. My daughter asked me to start doing a question and answer session on a regular basis. And I haven't, so I'm giving it out there. Feel free to comment, those that are listening, how often you'd like to see that, what kind of questions you'd like this. Thank you for beginning it. I didn't see that one coming.
I can ask questions.
You sure can, young lady. I'm very, very thankful for that. I really believe, for me personally, it comes back to what I've been called to do. I tell people all the time, when I first started my coaching career, and I had already coached for a couple of years, and I'd got to a place where it was time to go full time for one night ahead. It was time to be, as you said, all in. And I was like, oh, Lord, I went and met my dear mentor in Dana Point at the Ritz-Carlton. And I'm like, I could live on the beach. I could work at Dana Point. The Ritz-Carlton is a beautiful retreat. It's kind of like the retreat I wanted. I could do that. And it would be a relatively simple life. And then I spent about 3 hours there just determining what was next. And it's like, this is your calling. This is how you touch lives. It's going to be a lesson, and I'm going to figure it out the hard way most of the time. Most people watch me fall flat on my face on a multitude of occasions, and done a lot of stupid, because I don't like the word stupid, and yet I've done a lot of stupid, and yet, and I've made choices that probably weren't right at the time. It's in some cases, like everybody else, but as I think one of the phrases is, after 10,000 attempts, the 10,001 may be the exact one you need to do. And so I'm doggone it, I'm looking for 10,001. and that's my determination, because I know at the end of the day, I've touched thousands of lives, if not millions. And one of my dear clients, hopefully listening today, I remember the first time I told him, I said, I want to touch 1 million lives. And he's like, how are you going to do that? And I said, well, touch one, that touches 10, that touches another 100, and it's going to domino. It's not, I don't get to choose who that is. I do get to choose.
And you may never know.
You may never. And that's for each and every one of us. You don't know how many people have read your book, and you don't know how many people haven't told you about it, and how many people that was the one thing they need to hear and see at that moment. And I've heard that over and over and over again. So thank you for asking. That is exactly how I do it. It's just, I literally, as one of my other mentors would say, I wake up and say, who do you want me to serve today, Rob? End of story. And at the end of the day.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Well, thank you, young lady. I'm sending you a hug across the miles.
Where's your hug?
Right? And I'll see you in person soon. With that, we will be back on next month, and I will share all the decisions of that in the future. We'll get more purposeful on sharing them in advance. And any last comments?
Nope.
Well, happy January 2020, and we will see you again. And I'll have another Freedom Friday next Friday. Have an amazing day, everyone, and a wonderful weekend. Bye, sweetheart.